Friday, June the 15th. I changed my day off this week. So the plants have been in for about 2 weeks. As you can see, the ones that I've wanted to double stop are starting to get away from the stop, like that. Some side shoots coming. That's Lewis down that bed there, and the same with Marsden Suzanne there. The side shoots are starting to get away. We've still had nothing but rain, really, since they've been in the ground. And it's a bit of a challenge to, obviously I've not been watering, and there's a few plants that just showing signs of ill effects of too much water, a little bit of root rot, and they look a bit dull from that. I have given them their first feed, and that being the lawn food, the soluble lawn food in the drums. These drums are just for the last couple of beds that I've got to do, and that just goes out through the irrigation system, the drip irrigation that I've just finished putting down. So I'm getting ready now to hopefully pick up the straw for mulching later today. There's a Winholm there in the oak wood. And I'm hoping to pick up 50 bales of barley straw, and I can start mulching. So I'm preparing for that today. I can't get it to this afternoon. I'm just putting a spray on, which I'll show you what I'm using in the mow, and then I shall nip round with a hoe. The only weeds really that I've got coming through is the Dahlias from last year, where there's chopped up bits of tuber still in the ground. This is a Valentine, and for young plants that went in, they're really starting to put their arms out now and enjoy it. So they've been in 2 weeks. You can see the leaves are nearly touching each other. Obviously these are only going to be growing about 2 up, so their plant mass will be reduced a little bit later in the year. But they're really doing well as a batch. I'm very happy with those. You can see last year's Challenger, I think that would be, growing through the ground. Just go all that bother digging up tubers and trying to store them over winter, and they grow anyway. If you relied on it, it wouldn't happen, but it does. So I'm going to try holding off putting I started and then fought against it, putting the extra canes in until I put the mulch around. Hopefully we get some of this funny stuff called sun, which will enable me to control the water into the ground and therefore control the feed. There's just 8 plants of Sir Alf Ramsey there, and I would be thinking about stopping these probably at the weekend, because obviously it is naturally a late flower, and I don't want to miss the shows with it. And these are a decent strong plant. I took them quite early to make sure of it, and those that have the tops took out or chopped out probably at the weekend. The Young Marie over there have already been done, and hopefully those will not be too late. And there's the Candy running up there. So I'm just going to go through, hoe everywhere, just make sure the soil is nice and open. It is, because it just naturally is anyway, but it's just to make sure and get rid of any weeds or dahlias that are rearing their head. I'll then apply a good dressing of slug pellets before the mulch goes down on top. And again, I'll show you that when it's done, but you would have seen that on last year's video. I started trying to record my feeding activities, just so I can know what I've put on or how much I've put on of each one. A few people thought it would be useful to know, so I've got a marking post on there: nitrogen, balanced, potash, and every mark is one of the wheelie bins of feed that's mixed up and gone on. So this is the first feed, and there'll probably be 2 more marks on there when that's finished, and I'll just keep on marking it up, and we'll know what's been used in the season. the product that I get given has arrived, so I've got plenty to be getting on with, and so it's just now a case of spraying. It's quite easy this time of year. If you can get some of these jobs done, like the mulching, getting the canes in before the plants really get going, it's always an advantage. I'm trying to hold on to the winolms, the Dahlias, and really as many plants as I can, and I'm quite happy about that now, to a single stop. I think if I started doing double stops on some of these fairly young plants, I might have struggled to get any weight in them and struggled to get that second stop in at a time. The way it's been so cold, the plants haven't really got away like they would normally, so I'm hanging on for dear life really on these, hoping they're not going to start budding up before the end of the month, and I will take the tops out as a natural stop this year and see if I can grow them on that route, maybe get a bit more meat into them, and saves a bit of work if nothing else. The same with the oakwood. Purposely planted a smaller plant in a hope to hold on to them and not have to double stop. I found those a bit better last year from the plants that were singled than the ones that are double. So that's about that. I'll show you the spray, and the next time you see it, hopefully there'll be a bit of straw down and some sunshine. So spraying just through a knapsack, nothing technical there. One spray for me to go through the plot is about 25 litres of spray. These are what I'm using this early, just to make sure where it's been so damp and cool. I'm just putting a fungus clear out there, just to deal with any mildew that might be just thinking it's going to come. It's better to spray the young plants, you use less chemical, and a bug clear. And I'm putting those together, whether I should or not I don't know, but bug clear is based on the same active ingredient as I think it was carousel, gyro, and if you go back long enough to cybele, so it's quite good for biting insects. I find later in the season, if I really want to use it for earwig control, which I do, then I tend to use it at double strength, and I find it effective at that. One of these bottles would naturally make about 20 litres of spray, so a double strength, a bottle in the knapsack and 10 litres, and it gives me suitable control on what we need to deal with. So that's spraying, and that'll nearly be done. Just got one more knapsack to use, and then it's onto the hoe. Just to show you feeding, with these sort of numbers of plants and the amount of feed that go down, a simple system is what's required. Up until last year, I was running backwards and forwards with watering cans. I'd fill these up, tip the cans in, and walk up and down the rows. 860 plants, that takes probably about 5 hours. Now this isn't necessarily any quicker because it goes through the irrigation system, but it means that those 5 hours while it's doing it, and maybe 6, I can be getting on with other things. So I just have this drum like here, which is filled with food. About a kilo of powder goes into this, of lawn feed at the moment, and then it's filled up with water. That makes the feed. And then in the bottom, it's got a pump, as you can see. Just a normal pond pump, which sucks from the base rather than the side, so it empties the bin, and it gives me that sort of pressure out the hose. Quite simply, kink the hose, not easy one-handed. This is where I could end up wearing it. Then it just goes onto here, which is the connector, and I've got a tap on there so I can turn it on and off. On the covers under the bed, then I've got it split in 2 ways, so it does the 4 beds to the left, 4 beds to the right, and that will quite happily pump through there and out onto the beds. The drippers, well, the piping is actually a discontinued Gardena system. It's a shame it's discontinued because it's very, very good. I don't think people really realise how good it was. And as you can see, the drips there coming from that already. I mean, it's just been plugged in. And inside this rigid plastic pipe is a corkscrew dripper that regulates each dripper at 1.4, I think it's 1.5 litres per hour drip, which is great when you're watering, using it as water, because you can obviously regulate the amount of water you're putting on. The drippers are spaced every 12 inches, 30 centimetres, and obviously the plants are spaced about 18 inches to 2 foot, depending on the variety. So pretty much every plant's getting 2 drippers within 6 inches of it, mostly, as you can see there, and they're pretty close, and I don't find any problems with that. And that will just empty that drum out. Now there's 4 beds on this system, so I will naturally put 4 drums, which is 250 litres per drum, and that roughly equates to just under or just over about half a gallon a plant at this time of the year, because there's 60 odd plants in a bed. So it's a simple system. It cost a little bit of money to get set up, but now I know that's going to take half an hour to empty that bin, and you can just possibly hear it hissing as the air comes out of the system. And while that one's emptying, I can fill another one up from the hose, and it's just a half-hourly cycle of just moving the pump from one to the other. And so that's really, when I'm feeding twice a week, that has given me at least 10 hours, 12 hours working time on the plants that I wouldn't have had before. So it is invaluable, really. And if you look close enough, you can see the drips coming from the pipes. So that's feeding, and that's how I do it. Water is obviously through the same. When the straw goes down, then that will go down on those as well. Now, disadvantages of it is that obviously all plants in those beds get treated the same, and sometimes through planting that can't be, you don't want that to be the case. So these 4 beds here under the cover, where we've got the small decks in that bed, small decks in this bed, and small semi-cactus here, I feed those the same as I do the decks, and they seem to enjoy it. You wouldn't normally with cactus, but oakwood is a small flower. And the 4th bed that would normally be on the same system has got the rhonda, the poms at the bottom, and Ruskin Myra at the top. Now those I will give very little feed to, because I don't want to. Myra is a very big flower, and rhonda obviously is a pom. So I've just got that on a separate hose, and that's just a seat pipe because I couldn't get any more of the other. So if I need to water that bed, if I need to feed that bed independently, then I just connect it up to its own socket. Other than that, these 7 beds, 3 under this cover, 4 under that, are all fed the same, apart from obviously the right hand cover, which is mostly mediums, large and giants, or is all medium, large and giants, will possibly get extra feeds to the smalls, and that way I can just divide the plot. You just have to make sure you plant with this in mind. So there's no point putting a few poms at the end of a row of giants, because they're going to get fed like giants. So it's put a bit of effort in the planning process, and as I say, it's saving me at least 10-12 hours a week, which for me is at least 2 days work either side of work on the plants, and means I can grow probably more than I should, and I find it very beneficial. Many systems out there and people use different ones, but there's a fair explanation of mine. Saturday 16th, I believe. Just cleared this front bed here, front of the cottage, as you can see by all the bricks, and I'm just going to put some miniature cactus in there, more for effect, but you never know, might be able to creep the odd files off. There they are there, that's Rycroft Pixie to go in there. Need it more for some filming we're doing for a DVD for the National. And this is the demonstration bed for that. And there's a couple of tubers of BJ Beauty. These are plants that I planted last year in the ground, just two in the bed, and they've come up just as well this year. Why do we bother with all the propagation, eh? There's the straw when I got it yesterday. As you can see, that's quite a lot, 50 bales of straw there, and that's ready to spread across the plot as and when I get a chance over this next week or so. Now, with the weather that we've had, this is definitely something that's slightly more occurring this year than most. There's a couple of plants there that are good, they're healthy, they've got their roots in and are coming away quite nicely. And here's one of the same variety that obviously has got some problems. It's quite limp and dull looking in comparison to those. And basically this is root rot. So it's where there's been too much water in the ground, the root system wasn't as strong as it could have been, and it's gone backwards. You've got two choices: pull it up, replant another plant if you've got one, but obviously where they've been in the ground a couple of weeks, it's going to be behind the times. Or in a condition like that, it's not all that bad. Quite often, as long as you don't throw too much more water at them, give them time, they will re-root, grow new roots out, and pretty much catch up to the others. But keep an eye on it. If you see anything that looks like that, then don't start throwing more water at it when you're watering or feeding. Just leave it be. Small amounts of water when it dries, and they will normally pick up. And we'll keep an eye on this plant and see if it does. See you next time.